Good evening. Steven here once again. And it's that time for your weekly recap of NASCAR from this past weekend at Kansas. So don't forget, if you like content like this, hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Like the video, comment down below, and so forth. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now before we talk about the Kansas race in general for all three series, there is one thing I want to talk about right quick. NASCAR for the Cup Series is introducing a new aero package which will extend the height roof, and extend the rocket panel for the skirts, and will also have a fabric beneath the right side of the roof flap in order to try to prevent the cars from flipping or going off the ground at Talladega. Well, last time they tried to make some changes to the car, it didn't exactly work out, and eventually, at the right angle, the cars were still going to flip regardless, and get off the ground regardless, no matter what NASCAR does. But I will give them credit for trying something to try to prevent it from happening. But we'll have to see Sunday on NBC whether or not this crazy idea is going to work or not. Which, by the way, before we continue, from this point onward, for the end of the season until Phoenix, all the Cup races will be on NBC. With the exception of Phoenix, they'll start at either 2 or 2:30 on Sundays. And in the case of Talladega, it'll be 2 o'clock. And that is of course Eastern Time. So I just want to let you folks be aware of that before we go any further. And with the exception of the Saturday night races, the Xfinity Series races on the CW will begin at 4:30 each Saturday for the rest of the season as well. The two Saturday night races will be Vegas and Phoenix, just so you know. And with the exception of the Truck Series race at the Homestead Miami Speedway on Saturday, believe it or not, which will be at noon, the remaining Friday truck races will start at least at 4 o'clock, like here in Talladega, for that race weekend. And for the rest of the season, for that matter, until further notice, the Truck Series will be on FS1, and of course the CW will have the Xfinity Series races as well. So just keep that in mind. Those start times are Eastern. And for those of you who don't get the CW or FS1, well, there is still the NASCAR app. You can listen to the races there for free, you know. You won't be able to see the races, but at least you can hear them. Plus, you want to deal with announcers you don't like. But enough about that. Let's talk Kansas. First, Corey Heim became the first playoff driver to clinch a spot into the next round of playoffs. But I'm not the only one, since Lane Riggs won the previous two playoff races. As we're into Talladega, the Xfinity Series champion there, Ben Rhodes, will not be a part of it, as he, along with Daniel Dye, was two drivers who were knocked out following Friday night's Truck Series race. And while Rhodes could still go for wins, along with everybody else in the field, he just can't compete for the championship no more. Now I think, besides the big three of Jeske, Heim, and Edkins, whoever was at Talladega has not named them or is not in the playoffs will join them when the championship four is set at Phoenix, since these next three races will determine who will race for the championship. And I think one of the big three will get in on points regardless, unless all three of them manage to win a race in that round. But we'll see, beginning Friday, how that's going to play out for the Truck Series. But overall, the truck race was pretty good. We had a few mileage finish as well, and we didn't know for a while who was exactly going to win the race because of the fuel mileage situation. It's kind of a tragic shame that that two of the drivers, including Rose, ran out of gas because, well, they probably could have made it. And then I ran out of fuel, but oh well. As for the Kansas Xfinity race, that was a redemption victory for Eric Almirola. For those of you who don't know, he had a terrible crash in the Cup race back in 2017 that injured his back, and was forced to sit out a portion of the season because of that. And ultimately would cause him to leave Richard Petty Motorsports for Stuart Haas. Other than that, the other thing I found interesting was that, once again, for Justin Allgaier, who for the most part was the Xfinity Series regular season championship contender until Bristol, continues to struggle. And now, going to Talladega, he's a point behind, making it into the round of 8. But I think Allgaier will still advance to the round of 8. He just can't have any more trouble at Talladega or the Roval next weekend to find it, or getting back to stepping into playoff contention. But that's just me regarding that. As for the Cup Series, hang on for a second, folks. Sorry about that, folks. A little kid was walking by. Anyway, as for the Cup race, that was a good race, and a impressive burnout by Ross Chastain, who won the race. No driver managed to lock himself into the next round of 8, but to be honest, Byron might be the best one that stands a chance to be locked in when we get to Charlotte, even if he doesn't win. But that being said, this is Talladega, and anything can and will happen for all 3 series. So we'll just wait and see how Talladega will play itself for everybody in the playoffs and those who are not in the playoffs. Although I do get the criticism by a YouTuber whose video I saw yesterday about complaining about immediately referencing the fact that Chastain is no longer in the playoffs, but still got the win. And I have to agree with him for the most part. Yes, it's too bad that Chastain's not in the playoffs, but unless you're one of the select few fans who aren't aware of that, why bring it up? Let him and his team enjoy the win. But we'll see at Talladega if Chastain can make it 2 for 2. After all, Logano did sweep the round once, and could easily happen again. But we'll just wait and see if that happens. One other thing I want to talk about right quick before we wrap things up across the ARCA series, with 2 new extensions. First is that Menards will be back to sponsor both the main ARCA series plus the East and West division for a multi-year agreement, although they didn't say when the partnership deal ends. Although they didn't say when the sponsorship of Menards would end. But also, ARCA has extended partnership with Fox, including putting the Daytona race for next year on Fox itself, with the remaining races in the 25 schedule, including a debut for Lime Rock, as far as I know it, on either FS1 or 2, including the championship race, which will be on 2. And yeah, I don't agree with putting the races on FS2, especially the championship race, but in a way I do see why, to give FS2 something to brag about for next year. Since FS1 has the G Truck Series onto itself, it kind of makes sense to put something on 2 to at least draw in the audience on that channel for next year. Now, we don't know for 26 and beyond what the TV schedule will look like there, but for next year, there you go. Now, Thursday I'll be back to give who I think is going to win in Talladega for Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye! One last thing I want to talk about right quick, folks. Travis's former son, Carson, will be in the Xfinity Series next year, running for the Motorsports. And the one car with Bass Pro Shops as a sponsor for that series, as that sponsor also extends its partnership with Junior Motorsports, a current sponsor of Junior's podcast shows, like Global Media. So I forgot about that, and I just want to go back and talk about that briefly, because I think it's a good move for us. Junior Motorsports is arguably the best in the Xfinity Series right now, outside possibly Gibbs. I think under the right management and whatnot, with crew chiefs and whatnot, Bob will be a contender next year for the Xfinity Series title. Also, one other thing, if the non-square entry list for the Truck Series race is accurate, Brian Anfager might be driving an open-wheel truck, which hasn't happened since the 1930s, when Oldsmobile last ran a truck, and Oldsmobile itself hasn't been present in the sport since the 1990s, before going away entirely back in 2004. So, yeah, I think I'm talking a typo on the entrance part, but that is something unique I did want to share right quick as well. Anyway, until this time, I'll see you on Thursday. Bye. Whoops, I forgot one other thing. Yes, the Xfinity Series cars will be included in the new NASCAR video game as well. But I'll get more details about that, hopefully, on Thursday. But I did want to